here. Very low. We are live in a couple of places, and now we have to click over to Instagram and go live in there. So this is a two-step process. Hello, my name is Diane Rose Solomon. We are getting there. We are getting there. Okay, I think I am live. Yes, I am. And let me know when you're live everywhere, Ellen. You're good?
I am live.
Okay, great. Hello, everybody. I'm Diane Rose Solomon with What's Plant-Based Cooking Good Looking. And I'm here with Ellen of Ellen's Healthy Kitchen. You want to say hello?
Hi, everybody. I'm so glad to be here. I'm going to turn on my light so you can see me a little bit better. There we go. I am so delighted to be here, and I can't wait to dig into our topic today.
Well, me too. And I can't believe this is the last day of the bundle.
I know.
It's kind of bittersweet because it's really been fun and it's really been a great experience exploring the bundle. And we'll tell about what the bundle is in a minute, because that's how Ellen and I even met one another, through this vegan health bundle. But it's meeting people like Ellen has been such a joy, and really the best part of the vegan bundle. I mean, getting the recipes. What you share what the vegan bundle is, and then, because I could just keep going on.
So the vegan bundle, you know what, I have to tell you that my husband, who is a marketing person, he's retired now, but he said to me on maybe the second day of doing interviews with people, he said, you guys have bandied about the word bundle, but not everybody really understands what it is. So he said, it behooves you to explain it. Mm-hmm. So a bundle is really a bundle of things, right? It's a collection of things. And in this case, it's a collection of ebooks on a myriad of topics, from recipes, which there are over 2,000 in all of the ebooks that have recipes in them, mm-hmm. and exercise videos and videos about lifestyle and mindset. And there's full courses, like there's a Dr. McDougall course on gut health. And I could go on and on and on. There are so many. The list is just like 10 times longer than my arm.
Yeah.
And the value that you get is $8,049 for $49. So you buy it for $49 and you get $8,049 worth of content, and it's stellar content.
It's so stellar. And just to even break that down further, if you were to purchase each ebook and each course and each cooking class on their own, it would be $8,000, and it's being offered for $49. And today's the last day. So if you've remotely been thinking about it, if you've seen, Ellen's been doing so many lives. She's been so wonderful, meeting so many people. And I've done a few myself this week. If you've seen either of us this week and you've been like, well, should I get it? Should I not get it? I don't know. Just get it. It's so good. Like, I'm excited. I've been so busy cooking from the bundle this week that I haven't had a chance to even go through everything that I want to go through. There's so much more that I haven't even explored. In fact, I got an email today from somebody who just bought the bundle. She said, I don't even know where to begin. I said, and my advice to her was, go through and look at the ones that you think are the most appealing to you first. Start there. And then you can go back and look at the ones that weren't as appealing to you the first time around, because that's what I did. And I'm excited to go back, because as I talk to people like you, it's like, oh, did you speak to so-and-so this week? No, I didn't. And what they're offering in the bundle is so exciting and so interesting. It just didn't catch my eye at first. And I'm really excited to go back and check it all out. So grab your bundle. It's either in either of our bios in Instagram.
Yes.
Or when we're done with this live, we will be sure to put our link for you to grab the bundle in Ellen's Facebook group, my Facebook group. So wherever you're seeing us, we will make sure that you get a link. But if you're in Instagram, you can go there right now and grab it from either one of us, because the link's in the bio. So I'm delighted to be talking with you today, Ellen, because you have an amazing story how you came to eat whole food, plant-based. And our stories are really, really different, but I want to hear yours first, because I'm really intrigued by it.
Okay. I would be happy to share, with the hope that it will inspire even one person.
Yeah.
My journey started in 2005 when I was diagnosed with alopecia. Wow. And the alopecia, the doctor I went to was a dermatologist, and he said, there's really nothing you can do. We can give you shots of cortisone, but it might help. It might not help. It might grow back. Your hair might grow back. That's what the problem was. or it might fall out again. It was not for me, was not a viable alternative.
Mhm.
So I said, no, I don't think so. Bye. And I went and I explored other avenues, and I read a lot and found a book called Dangerous Greens by Dr. Ron Hogan. And he asserted that autoimmune diseases
Mhm.
can be traced back to gluten. And
Wow.
so ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
I said, oh, gluten. My sister has some kind of something with gluten. So I called her. She lived in Florida. I was in the Boston area. And she said, yeah, I have celiac. And she never even told us because she basically pushed it under the carpet. She didn't want to know about it. So she
Mhm.
wasn't compliant. She should have been, but she wasn't. And when I found out about it, I called my doctor and said, can I please have the celiac panel? And she gave me the panel and she wrote me a form letter and said, you have celiac. So then I looked into the celiac whole thing, called my sister and read her the Riot Act and said, what are you doing not being compliant? You have to be compliant. You have to do this. You have an autoimmune disease.
Is
So
she
anyway,
compliant now?
PS, I went gluten-free, did that from the beginning of 2006 all the way until now and continued. But
Uh-huh.
in 2011, I went to the Institute for Integrative Nutrition
Mhm.
and I got certified as a holistic health coach.
Mhm.
And I started exploring all kinds of different ways to eat, including vegan, which
Mhm.
before that, vegan was like weird.
Mhm.
Vegans were weird and I didn't want anything to do with it. But
Right.
now all of a sudden it piqued my interest. So I started playing in the playground of vegan, but it was more processed vegan. It wasn't really fully whole food plant-based by any means. And while I was there, my sister, who had been diagnosed with celiac before me, she had some heart issues and she ended up
Mm.
having 2 stents put in, not one, but 2. And she called me up and she said, okay, Miss Smarty Pants, you're in this program. What do I do now? You're a health coach. So I said, well, go read Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn's Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease. Go read Colin Campbell's China study, and then
Mhm.
we'll talk. We'll
Mhm.
talk.
We'll
As
talk.
they say in New York, we'll
Yes.
talk.
Yes.
So she did that, and like 3 days later, she called me and she said, "Okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm whole food, plant-based, no oil." Like she
Mhm.
went like totally, and she was really, really good until about 4 months ago. And I'm going to get into that in a second, but I want to
I
finish my
wanna hear it,
story.
yeah.
So I did this vegan-ish kind of until about 2016 when I met my husband who's
Mhm.
now my husband. And he was fully standard American diet, cocktail every night at 6 o'clock. And I was in love. So I just did what he was doing. And within a couple of years, like by 2018, I gained 20 pounds. And I'm
Wow.
little, short, petite. 20 pounds on me is like 40 pounds on somebody else.
Yeah.
So I said, no, 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 this is not going to work. I'm not going here. So I started exploring and I did Weight Watchers and I did Bright Line Eating and I did Whole Food 30 and I tried everything. And for those people who that works for, all the more power to you. Everybody's got to go on their own journey. For me, it didn't work. I
Yeah.
was hungry all the time and I didn't like the idea of weighing and measuring and portioning.
Mhm.
I just
Mhm.
didn't like it. So I said that something's got to change. And then I started researching and I found Chef AJ and she gave me the key to unlock the door. That was it. Life
Amazing.
for me, I went through the birth canal again in
Yeah.
around
Yeah.
2018,
It's
19 when I started following her and learning about calorie density. And that
yeah.
was it. And then for me, it was just a no-brainer. I was already dealing with gluten-free. I kind of knew vegan, sort of, kind of. And then I just went fully whole food, plant-based, watched every video that I could, and became so enamored with it that now I want to teach people about it. And that's where I am. And my sister, wrap up the story, 4 months ago, she called me sheepishly and said that she had another incident and she was at the hospital and she after she came home and they got her stabilized, they didn't have to put another stent in. But I said to her, what happened? You were being like, what happened? And she said, she admitted to me that she fell off the wagon, not entirely but enough to get her back into trouble.
It's really amazing how powerful eating whole food, plant-based is and can be. And, as you said, not only getting the word out, but you consumed a lot of information. There's so much information out there. And
Yeah.
I tell my clients, I tell people that I'm just chit-chatting with, watch some of the films, read some of the books, get on the email list so that you're constantly eating a diet of this information. You know, that's important. You want to eat a diet of this information so that it becomes what you do and who you are, because
Right.
it's so powerful. I mean, I'm at a point at this point in my journey that there is no going back. It's not like I have any
No.
reason or desire to fall off of it. For a variety of reasons. But to somebody to whom this is new and weird seeming and hard seeming, you need a little extra oomph for a while, you know, a little
Yeah.
extra support.
Yeah, you do. And, instead of, when you said that you go on a diet of this information, instead of
Mhm.
going on a diet of whatever, this is the information that you can take in, and it's life changing for me. I mean, there's a little bit more to the story. If I just tell you a little bit more of the story,
Go ahead.
I've been kind of a little embarrassed and sheepish, talk about sheepish, about telling the weight part of my story.
Tell it.
Because I'm little, and it's not like I had 100 pounds to lose or 50, but I've come to learn that it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
I was of the belief that many of us, and I will say especially women, that we have to be thin, we have to
Mhm.
be skinny, we have to be svelte.
Mhm.
And that was the key to life, was to always be on a diet so that you could always be thin.
Mhm.
And what I've learned is that it's not about being thin, it's about being strong
And healthy. Yeah.
and healthy. And I've had to undo, and I'm still undoing the brainwashing in my head. It's hard, but I'm doing
It's
it.
part of our brainwashing in our society, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. It's just no more. So now I still have to remind myself it's not about how much you weigh. It's not about the weight loss. For me, and again, this is my journey. Somebody else might have a different journey, but for me, it's about learning to eat food that's going to nourish me, nurture me, and that's going to allow me to live a life where I'm not constantly thinking about food and dieting. I want to constantly think about food because I love food, but I don't want to constantly think about dieting.
Yeah, no,
So
I constantly think about food because I love food, but not from the same standpoint, because I trust that when I'm eating whole food. In fact, I just realized, I think it was yesterday, that I've been cooking up a storm this week, making a lot of the recipes from the bundle, and baking too. I've been, baking things too. And I realized I lost a little weight. Like, and I've been cooking and eating and cooking and eating, cooking and eating. And, you know, I don't get hysterical. We're talking up and down like 2 or 3 pounds for
yeah,
me. It's
me
like
too.
it's not a big deal. But I was like, huh, it's so interesting that when you're eating consistently healthfully, it just naturally, when we're giving our body what it's supposed to have, our body naturally responds the way it's supposed to respond.
Right.
It's kind of brilliant. Our bodies are kind of brilliant.
Yeah, and it doesn't happen overnight either. I have to say that the journey that I've been on, it wasn't like all of a sudden I figured this out. It's really taken the better part of 5 years to really concretize and get everything to a place
Mhm.
where I don't have to think about it anymore. And the other plus for me is that I used to weigh myself daily.
Yeah.
I all but would travel with my scale. I mean, I didn't, but I would practically. I'd think about it if
Yeah.
I were going away for a week, but I didn't, because I didn't want my luggage to
Wait them.
to weigh out. I
Yeah,
didn't want to
yeah.
have to pay for that. But I don't weigh myself anymore, which is such a strange concept. In the past, it would be like, no, I'm going to weigh myself every day, but I don't,
It's
because I
very
stopped
freeing
thinking about it.
because you don't
And
have to.
it's really been it's been a healing journey too.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah, and I would say for me too, it definitely took a while to understand what the whole food plant-based meant. Well, I understood what it meant immediately, but then having to create my life as whole food plant-based was a whole different story. And it's taken a while to really build up the recipes that I make so that it really is just kind of, what do you want for dinner tonight? And
Yeah.
then it's just easy.
Yeah, and, it's so funny. What I make for dinner is oftentimes I call it, container eating.
Yeah.
A very dear friend of mine who I've known for a long time, she kind of coined the term container eating, and it's from the days when we used to go to the deli at the supermarket, and we would get coleslaw and potato salad, and we would always have the containers, right, if we didn't finish it. And so the next day you would take the containers out and you'd make a meal out of whatever was left over. So I kind of took that concept, and my meals very often, especially dinner, are container or component, you can call it, eating, where I'll take out, well, I had this rice left over, and I had this stir-fried green beans left over, and I made a salad last night, and I have some hummus. And look, I have some ranch dressing. I have some ranch dressing with sriracha in it. And so like I make a meal out of all these components or these containers.
That's very creative. And when I first went whole food plant-based, my husband had just learned that his cholesterol was high. It was 258, and his doctor wanted to put him on statins. Just to really back up a little bit, I originally went vegan for the animals. And I didn't know how to cook anything vegan. And for the first year of being vegan, I just got takeout from Whole Foods or the restaurants. I live in Los Angeles, and I live in a food mecca, and there's plenty of good food here, but it gets really expensive. And I missed cooking. I used to cook for my family. And so about a year into that, a vegan blogger, not a healthy blogger, but a vegan blogger I was following, offered a cooking class. And I jumped right on it because I said, I would open a cookbook, and it would have these weird ingredients in it that were totally foreign to me. And I would freak out, and I would slam the cookbook shut, and I would toss it aside. I was totally intimidated by plant-based cooking, whether it was just vegan or whole food. And I wasn't ready for it until I took this cooking class, and it changed everything for me, because now I was familiar with the ingredients in it, and it gave me a lot of courage to go out and start trying other things. And I said, I'm going to tell the world that I'm vegan, and I've learned how to cook. And if I learned how to cook, you can learn how to cook. And then I realized, what if being vegan isn't so healthy? Like, what if I'm giving people bad information? And so that's when I stumbled across the Cornell plant-based nutrition program, which is based on the book that you mentioned before, the China study, or the book is based on the course. I don't know, they're whatever, interconnected. And and I learned about whole food plant-based from that. And I said to my husband, who had just found out that his cholesterol had gone up, that his if he didn't go on the statins, give me a few months. Let's cook. I'm going to cook.
You said to him, he was going to go on the statins?
His doctor wanted him to go on statins. I said, don't go on statins yet. I said, let me cook. I've learned about whole food plant-based. I know how to cook now. Let me give this a whirl. Eat what I'm feeding you for the next little bit. Let's see how it goes. And sure enough, he got his blood test again 3 months later, and his cholesterol had gone from 258 to 178.
That's amazing.
It's amazing. So I'm like, well, no statins for you. I'm cooking. And it was just now a matter of, finding between his pick. He's such a picky eater. He eats like an 8-year-old. And, and I want it to be easy. So I learned how to cook easy, plant-based, healthy food. And now I'm teaching people how to cook easy, plant-based, healthy food. And so that's sort of my journey to how I got here. So I love that it's different. Like, you found it from a health perspective, and I found it from the animal perspective, but we both wound up at the same eating healthy, plant-based, and neither of us are going back, back to
and I think that's, I have to also, I'll be honest with you and tell you, I have to also give myself permission to have entered the doorway of whole food, plant-based, no oil eating from the perspective of health. And I think whatever doorway you walk through, just walk through the door. Now I think because I've never been, I had pets. I had a dog when we were growing up, and I had a dog early in my life as an adult, but I've not been a pet person. So the animal piece of it hasn't been as front and center as the health piece of it. And eventually I suspect I will come to it, and I'm giving myself the grace to allow this journey to continue to unfold the way it needs to.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I see that all the time. People who came to whole food plant-based eating for health, and then they start to learn about the horrors of the animal industry. And they say, not only am I not going back for my health reasons, I'm certainly not going back because I don't want to be a part of the animal
Right.
destruction. So
Right. And I know it's intellectually because I've watched the documentary, so I know it. Just has not been the doorway that I've gone through. But now I'm slowly getting to that place of where the ethics of following a whole food plant-based, the no oil part, maybe not, but from an ethical standpoint, that's still very much the health standpoint. But from the animal rights standpoint, the whole food plant-based is absolutely the way to go. I mean, if you love animals, how can you eat them? I don't get it.
I
And
don't get it
I've
either.
been there, done that. And I think that, so I can't blame anybody because it's not a blame game. I do know that we all were fed, no pun intended, a bunch of lies. And so
Mhm.
we learned in our culture to put blinders on. That's what
Dr. Melanie Joy calls it a carnistic society that we live in.
carnistic.
And carnistic, where we've just had the blinders that you're talking about to eat meat. And so, as you're saying, there's no blame. This is how we grew up. And this is also how the industry
Yep.
wants us to think. They want us to keep buying the eggs and the milk and the butter and the meat. And it's unfortunate, but there's a lot of us that are understanding that it doesn't have to be that way.
Right.
And, and it's, what I love about it is that what's good for all parts of your body is also good for our climate, and it's also good for the animals. So it's like it's a win-win-win
Right.
everywhere, and it's just a matter of learning it. There's a learning curve. I'm
Yes.
not gonna, there's somebody that I follow online. Her name's Molly Patrick. She's hilarious. Her company is called Clean Food Dirty Girl.
Oh, yes, I follow her.
She's darling. She's so sweet.
Right.
And she says, choose your suck. Do you want to be unhealthy? Do you want to feel terrible about the animals? Or do you want to, have a learning curve? It's hard in the beginning. It kind of sucks when you learn new things. Choose your suck. You want to be unhealthy, or do you want to learn something new? It's not hard. And that's what Ellen and I are here to share with you. Ellen figured it out. I want to tell you about Ellen's ebook that she has in the bundle. In fact, I want to stop for a minute because people have joined us. It's so good. People have joined us. And we are both here. We did not know each other 2 weeks ago, but we met through this wonderful vegan health bundle. And the vegan health bundle is really, it's a conglomeration of contributions that people have put into this group. It's a bundle. And the contributors, there's over 150 contributors. There's recipes and ebooks. There's cooking classes. There's exercise classes. There's so much inner work, outer work. It's so well done and it's so brilliant, and I'm so impressed with everything that's in there. But today's the last day of the bundle. The value of everything in it's $8,000. It's only $49. You can grab it in Ellen's bio, my bio, in our Facebook groups. I know she's already put a link in her Facebook group. I'll do it afterwards. So it's just, I've been cooking amazing food, and I want to share what I've been cooking from your bundle entry. So you have a book, and it's all about oats. What's the exact title of the ebook called?
It's called 20 Delicious Rise and Shine Morning Oatmeal Recipes from Ellen's Healthy Kitchen.
Great. So I want to say how diverse it is. First of all, there's, hot oats. There's cold overnight oats. There's savory oats. And I cooked this morning, I should say baked, your muffins.
Oh,
which
yeah.
are so good. Like, I have to admit, I had 3 because they were so good, and I couldn't. They're small. They're not big poofy
Yes.
ones. And it's just nutrition in there. It's just packed with nutrition.
Yes.
But before I baked your muffins this week, I discovered the first one that I started making, the first oat recipe of yours that I started making was your peanut butter and jelly oats. Okay, I know I'm being a little dramatic here when I say it's changed my life, but it's changed my life because I've been eating oatmeal or overnight oats, for a long time. And that's another thing I wanted to say. You don't have to be vegan to eat oats. Most non-vegans eat plenty of oats. So even if you're not vegan and you're thinking about this bundle, there's some great recipes and great stuff in here, even if you're not vegan or whole food plant-based. But it just added an element of, this is new and interesting and different, and it didn't require any extra effort. And you have so many fun, yummy recipes that I can't wait to explore them. But who doesn't want peanut butter and jelly in their breakfast? I mean, like, it's healthy. Like, the way you've done it, it's healthy and you add spice. It's just delicious and yummy. And I've been having the best time eating a lot of peanut butter jelly oats. And as I said, I've lost weight this week. Like, so it's not like we're
That's
gaining
crazy.
weight when
Right.
we're eating this,
Yeah.
But I love the muffins and I'm just,
Yeah. And did you I think you did discover that I made the only editor for this ebook was me, and I made a boo-boo because they're called pumpkin date muffins and there's no dates. And what did you discover? What did you do?
I just did raisins because the recipe said
Right.
raisins. And when I
Right.
emailed you, you said, yeah, I've never used dates, but if you use dates, probably be a little sweeter. But I didn't
Right.
want to chop up the dates. I had raisins already. The raisins were
Right.
in the recipe. So no big deal. It says pumpkin date muffins, but it's really pumpkin raisin muffins. But you can put dates in it. I'm sure it'll be equally delicious.
Right. You can take dates and you can just like cut them up into like little raisin-sized pieces and
Yeah.
use those. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I hope, I'm pretty sure that that's the only boo-boo in there. But you used pumpkin puree.
Well, it was so easy when I stumbled upon it. I love pumpkin recipes because my dog gets pumpkin in his dog food. So I always have pumpkin in my house. So whenever I find a pumpkin recipe, I'm like, I'm making that because I already have the pumpkin here.
Yes,
Really
yeah, yeah.
But
I love
pumpkin,
those. I love those muffins. They're very filling.
yeah.
And I always have them in the fridge. And if I'm leaving the house to drive to Boston, we live an hour north of Boston, and I want to make sure that I have a snack. I always try to leave the house with food. They're so portable and easy to have, and
Beautiful, yeah.
so
And they check all the boxes. They've got nutrition in them and
right.
they're yummy. Like that's the thing. I think people who are new to whole food plant-based think that all we eat is spaghetti and red sauce, or like salads and vegetables and whole grain pastas. And
Right.
that is anything but the case. There's so much variety. There's, some people really just stick to a few things because that's what works for them. And they need to be very structured about what they eat. And it's about the nutrition and it's not about the flavor. For
Right.
me, it's got to be good. And plus, I'm cooking for my husband. And when my kids are home, they don't live at home anymore, but my kids are home. They want to eat. Like I make tofu teriyaki because it's similar to something that they would have eaten, with the meat, right? Chicken teriyaki. I'm not making chicken anymore. When I first started making tofu teriyaki, it was vegan. It wasn't plant-based. And I just changed the recipe around. It tastes the same, but it's whole food plant-based now.
So eating this way is so versatile. There are so many different things that you can do that you just make like a slight change, like you said. It's just so easy. And I used to really like detest, I know that's a strong word, but I used to detest tofu. And I now am having a major love affair. As a matter of fact, I have a confession to make. I thought that I only liked extra firm. Well, here's what happened. Literally what's today? Sunday. Earlier this week. Yeah, it was on Monday. We were in Boston and I went to Trader Joe's, and they have in a package, they have a 2-package sprouted tofu, but they didn't have any more. And they had one other package that had black and pink writing on it. And it didn't say whether it was firm or soft or medium or whatever. And so I asked one of the employees, and she said she had no idea. So I said, all right, well, I'll try it. So I brought it home and I drained the water and I started, handling it, and it was soft. It was really soft. So then I thought, wow, I'm going to try making a scramble out of it. Because it was almost as soft as like you might think scrambled eggs would be.
Yeah.
So I did, and I put in what's it called? That namamala,
kalanamak.
Kalanamak. It's a spice
Black salt.
Yeah. Where do you get yours?
I get it online because I have not been able to find it in too many places around.
Like maybe Amazon?
I think I get it at Amazon. It's from the Spice Lab, wherever you can.
And it smells like eggs. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
I put a little bit of that in, and then I thought, well, I want them to look. I was making it for Michael too, and he's slowly transitioning to whole food plant-based. So I put some turmeric, and then I also know that turmeric is the curcumin in turmeric is activated when you add black pepper. So I added that, and then I added some. I I added some chopped red onions, and I sauteed it just without oil,
Yeah.
just in a nonstick
Yeah.
pan. And damn, it was like
So
scrambled eggs.
good.
It
It's
was
so
so
good.
good. And then before I finished, I chopped up some baby spinach really
Mhm.
fine and added that and kind of mixed it around until it wilted. And oh my God. So now here I am. I think I'm kind of a maven at whole food plant-based. And I discovered that I really like soft tofu, not
That's
not not silken
Yeah,
per
I
se,
understand. Yeah,
but this is like
that's so great.
so there you go.
I taught a class in January, and one of the recipes that was in the cooking class was scrambled tofu. And everybody was so excited, because people don't understand, well, what am I going to replace my eggs with? You're going to replace it with tofu. You can make scrambled out of it, and you're going to be so happy, and it's going to be tasty, and you're going to enjoy it. And it's not hard. And what I do actually is I don't know if I have it right here. Oh yeah, my tofu scramble spice. I don't have, it's empty right now because I had to clean out the jar.
What
But
is
what
it?
I'll do,
Ooh,
my tofu scramble spice, it's just an old jar, empty jar. I'll put all the spices that I'm going to use for my
great.
recipe ahead of time. So when I'm feeling like I want to scramble, I just have to buy the tofu, and the spice is all ready. It's all shaken up, empty. I'm just,
Can you share your secret recipe for that, or like what's in it?
I would have to look it up because I'm
Okay.
not good at remembering things
Remembering. Okay.
off the top of my head. But anybody who's interested is welcome to message me after this live, and I'll be happy to share it with you. So, and
Cool.
actually, in my Facebook group last year, I shared a couple of scrambled. In fact, that's the easiest place to do it. Come to find my Facebook group, which is What's Plant-Based Cooking Good Looking. And I have 2 scramble recipes. The original one that I made, which I think is good, but she used oil. And then I found another one that had no oil, but it wasn't quite as flavorful. So what I've done now is I just took the first one that had oil, and I just make everything without the oil. You don't need oil to saute vegetables. It's kind of brilliant. Just put a little water in and you saute it.
Well, you know what's interesting about that? I I haven't tried this yet, but I'm curious to, and I'm curious to see what you think about this. I recently saw this. Somebody said that when they saute onions, in order to get them caramelized, what they do is they get the pan hot, put the onions in, cover them with water,
Mm-hmm.
cover with water, let the water evaporate, cover them again with water, let the water totally covered. I'm not saying talking like a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Let the water evaporate a second time, and then you have caramelized onions. And the way I do it is I get my pan hot, I put my onions in, and they sizzle when they hit the pan,
Mm-hmm.
just from the water in
Water.
the onions,
Yeah.
and I let them go for 5 minutes or so,
Mm-hmm.
and then I slowly add little drops of water,
Mm-hmm.
just enough to keep them from burning and sticking,
Mm-hmm.
and it caramelizes them.
Yeah.
That works, but I just was curious to know what you think about this.
I've never done it, but I usually put a little water in as soon as I put the onions in, just so it doesn't start sticking immediately. But I've never done it where they're totally covered. But
Yeah,
that's
I
an
know.
interesting way to try it. But I do put water in, and I always have like a little thing of water to
Yeah, me too.
big splashes of water into it.
Right.
You don't need oil to cook. It's really quite
No.
amazing.
No, it's kind of it's an epiphany. Most people are like, nope. In fact, I had somebody dropped off some upholstery that she's doing for us in the house, and we were chatting, and she asked me about what I've been doing, and I must have had my ebook up on my laptop, and she saw it, and she asked me some questions about my work, and I told her what I do and that I teach people how to cook without oil.
Yeah.
And she went, no, 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 no. I could never do that. I'm Italian. I come from a family, we use olive oil. And I said, well, okay, well, if you ever want to learn how, just let me know. And I did a little spiel about take a look at a tablespoon of olive oil compared to the same amount calorie wise of broccoli. And I said, which do you think is going to fill you up more and give you more fiber and help you make really good poops? And, for those of you who are like, oh my God, I cannot believe she just said that. Well, I do. And with my clients, we talk about poop, and you know that going out of the gate, we're going to talk about poop because your poop is a sign of health.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe me, go look up the poop scale, and you'll see there's literally a graphic of the poop scale and what your poop should look like. And if it looks like this, is not good.
It's not good.
So
it's interesting because I'll share something which I wasn't planning on sharing publicly, but you just mentioned it. I've had 3 colonoscopies, and the first 2 were before I was eating whole food plant-based, and there were polyps present. And then I started eating whole food plant-based. My 3rd colonoscopy, which I just had, no polyps anymore. And I've been whole food plant-based for like 3 years already. So I think there's a correlation. I won't know for another 5 years, but I do believe that there's a correlation.
Yeah.
And I've read that when you're eating whole food plant-based, you won't find polyps. So, we'll know for sure in a few years if there's correlated here. But so far, it looks like a correlation to me.
Right. And if anybody wants to dig a little deeper, follow Dr. Will Bolshewitz. And he has a book called Fiber Fueled. And in his book, he talks all about the importance of fiber and helping you get your colon clean and, cleaning up your microbiome. So, that would be a good source for information. So now I want to say that if anybody, I have my phone next to me, people who are watching on Instagram, if you have questions, I believe I'm actually just kind of curious. I don't know, Diane, if you know this, but if somebody puts a question on where they're watching on my Instagram, I wonder if it'll show up in your column. So I don't know, Susan, a friend of mine, Susan is on here. Just put a comment and let's just see if it appears somewhere. It's going to be a practice comment.
All I'm showing is who's joined. I'm not seeing. I'm not seeing. Maybe I could see it if I go into Instagram. Anyway, I just want to reiterate what you and I are doing here because there are some people that have recently just joined. So Ellen is my new friend. I'm in California. She's in Massachusetts, but we're new buds. And we met through the Vegan Health Bundle. And the Vegan Health Bundle it's contributions from over 150 contributors, people who have shared recipes and ebooks and cooking classes and it's not just food. There's exercise classes. There's books on gut health. I think Dr. McDougall is the gut health. Yeah. And Dr. Furman has a submission, and there's some amazing name chefs that you've heard of, like Drina Burton. She's got 2 cookbooks in there, 2 ebooks, I should say, but she also has a fascia class, which I started doing.
Fascia flow.
Is so good. If you haven't tried it yet, I recommend it. It's like these really gentle motions, and like you just do these 8 or 10 repetitions. I feel so good after them. I've gotten so much value just by being a part of the bundle. And today's the last day of the bundle. So there's these 150 contributions. The value, if you were to purchase each one on their own, it would be $8,000, and it's being offered for $49.
Yeah, it's kind of a no-brainer. Like, I mean, you'd spend that in a month at Starbucks.
Yeah, it's kind of silly, and eating things that you probably shouldn't be eating. So people say, I buy cookbooks for $30, and there's only 30, 40, 50 recipes in there. And so you said how many recipes are in the 2,000?
Over 2,000, yeah.
Okay, so for $49, you get a lot of cookbooks in there, and really interesting. I mean, your cookbook is oats, and then somebody else, Lisa Rice, she's got a cookbook that's an ebook that's all around the world. So, I mean, just you can learn to cook amazing foods from all around the world, and they're not hard. Like,
no, I made a smoothie recipe today from. I've been really enamored with Chris Kimball's raw cookbooks, raw ebooks, and I made one. And honestly, I'm going to tell you what the ingredients are, and you're going to be, what? How could that be so delicious that you're raving about it? It was a banana, dates, blueberries.
So far, it sounds delicious.
Banana, dates, and water. Okay, and now I'll confess I added one thing to it, and it's dragon fruit. I have some frozen dragon fruit that's really pink. And I added that, but that's not what made it so delicious. It was synergistic. I'm sure it was a combination of all, but it would have been great without the dragon fruit. And I loved it. And this is what I want to encourage people to do. Find a recipe you like and then play with it. Like you're in the playground, right? Yeah. So for me, I'm going to take that smoothie tomorrow and I'm going to add spinach to it.
Oh, great.
Or I might add kale to it. I might add flax meal to it and play with the flavors a little bit and see what you can come with. Make it your own.
I'm so glad you mentioned that because I'm not going to share what the secret ingredient is because I want people to get the bundle and get your ebook. But you share in the beginning of your ebook that when you're making your oatmeal, I'm not going to share what it is, add this secret ingredient to give it more nutritional value. And I did it, and it just gives you a little extra boost. It's such a smart way to add more nutrition to something that you're already going to eat anyway. You probably have it in your freezer, and if you don't, you should, or you will. In fact, the secret ingredient is one of the ingredients that we use in the cooking classes that I submitted for the bundle. My submission is 3 cooking classes.
Oh, cauliflower. Oh, no, what was it? Something. Okay. Right.
It's a secret. Everybody has to buy the bundle to get your ebook and find out what the secret is.
Right.
But my submission to the bundle was cooking classes that I hosted last year.
Right.
I co-taught with a chef who I met at the Cornell plant-based nutrition program. And we did, the first one was a cauliflower curry, delicious. I'd never made a curry before. I was so happy. The second class that we taught was barbecue. So it was veggie burgers and no oil pesto, which we put on whole grain pasta, and a warm veggie salad with a balsamic vinaigrette. And when I say vinaigrette, there's no oil in the vinaigrette. It's just balsamic. Yeah. And I think we used aquafaba as our oil. And then the third class we did was a Mexican fiesta. We had fajitas and tacos, and the tacos are made from food. It's not Impossible Burgers. It's made from food. So really, if you're looking to learn how to cook whole food plant-based, there's so many, not just my classes, there's so many other classes in there, and there's recipes. And reach out to Ellen for coaching, reach out to me for coaching. We do it differently. We're teaching different things, but just whatever works for you. Grab the bundle. Today's the last day. It's in links in our bio. We'll make sure that it's everywhere else to be found.
Yeah. So I want to make sure before we finish, you're the host, but I'm going to sort of step on your toes in it just a tiny bit. But I know you're not going to be unhappy. I know you're going to play my game. So I have this box of cards, and they're called Wisdom for Healing cards. And isn't that adorable?
I love it.
Right? So I'm going to pull a card for you.
Oh, sweet. I'm so happy.
And I'm going to ask you if you would expound upon it based on the bundle, based on your experience, based on your knowledge, your wisdom. I'm going to ask you, what's it called when you mix them?
Shuffle.
Thank you. I couldn't think of the word.
Half the time you can't think of the word. So.
I can't think of the word. I'm going to shuffle them, and I am going to pull a card for you, and I'm going to let you expound using your wisdom.
Okay, this is fun. Here we go.
Okay, so this says, I'm going to read what's on the front, the title, and then I'll read what's on the back.
Okay.
So it says, Become Better. Can you see it? And it says, today's lesson. Discover one thing that would make you better and more empowered at what you do and who you are, and make it a part of your routine. If this is difficult, identify why becoming better is something you wouldn't want to do. Your goal is to recognize how and why you sabotage your empowerment.
Wow, I love that. And the word that really stuck out for me was empowered, because in this world, in this day and age, we all feel so disempowered between wars and just everything that's going on in this world, the way that people are, just less, it's just, there's so much going on in this world that we have no power over, or at least we believe we don't have power over.
Right.
But when we're eating healthy vegan, how empowering is it? And how much better do we feel? And how much better can we sleep at night when we are not eating animals? I go to sleep at night thinking, I'm not a saint, but I didn't eat any animals today. And I cooked and ate and procured healthy food. So I feel better. I'm eating better. My body is responding better. I feel empowered by my food choices. And then, extending to the climate, we all hear about, what's going on with cows and the methane gas that they're burping and how it's messing up our climate. It's such a huge contributor. I'm not contributing to that. And that is empowering knowing that what I'm eating is making the world better. Maybe not today, maybe not in my lifetime, but I think I'm contributing to it. And at some point, we're gonna
Yeah.
see the benefits.
Yeah. And that was great. Thank you for that. That was perfectly aligned with this. And I would encourage anybody who's listening, we have a few people who are watching and listening. Feel free to add in the comments, what's one thing, I'll read that part of it. Discover one thing or think about or decide to do one thing that would make you better and more empowered at what you do and who you are.
Yeah.
And I'll say vis-a-vis whole food, plant-based, no oil. Is there something, one little tiny step you can take? And it could be something as simple as, I'm going to make dinner without oil tonight. No matter what you're making for dinner. I don't care what it is, but you're going to make it without oil. And if you would be willing to do so, just put it in the comments and make yourself accountable.
And there's a question that came, what drinks do you make as plant-based, please?
What drink do you make?
Yeah, it says, what drinks do you make as plant-based?
Well,
you just mentioned a smoothie that you make.
I do. Great. I make smoothies. I do have coffee. I have a cup of decaf in the morning.
So do I.
A cup of organic decaf, and I use soy milk, and I froth it with a frother. And I also, for dinner, and it's like my little treat. I forget about it all day until it's dinner time. And then Michael says, do you want me to make you your drink? And I say, yeah. And it's water, fresh lemon juice, a little bit of sweet, what's the name of the company? They make stevia drops, sweet something. I can't remember.
I don't know what it is.
But it's vanilla tasting stevia drops and some ice. And it's like lemonade.
That's great.
So I have it every night, and he's now hooked on it too. He loves it. So and I also will sometimes we have a seltzer maker. I will make seltzer.
That's what I do too. I drink soda water. I drink decaffeinated green tea in the morning. I'll have a cup of coffee with my muffins that I made, Ellen's beautiful, healthy plant-based muffins from the ebook that's in the bundle.
You know what that reminds me of? I just was thinking of this. Who was it that told me? Oh, I know, Kathy Hester. In one of my interviews with her, I had two. She said that when we both have soy milk makers, and she said when she makes her soy milk, she takes the remaining, it's called okara or okara, O-K-A-R-A. It's the residue from making the soy milk. That's basically the soybeans that you've made the soy milk from. And she takes it and she turns it into ricotta cheese.
Wow.
So how interesting would it be to make a ricotta cheese that maybe you add a little bit of sweetener to and then use it to top the muffins?
Amazing. That is amazing.
Doesn't that sound really, really good?
Sounds delicious. Sounds delicious.
Where are we going to go when I come to LA? Where are you going to take me?
Where would you like to go?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, there's one restaurant that's like really famous that's vegan. I can't remember. If you said the name of it, I'd know it. It's a famous one. But
there's Crossroads, but there's also Cafe Gratitude. Is that one?
Yeah, Cafe Gratitude.
Yeah, it's really good.
I do love that one. And I love how you can find a vegan restaurant practically on every corner. Not that they're all healthy per se, but
not all healthy, but I have to say a lot of them closed.
During the pandemic?
No, more recently. Some closed during the pandemic, and more recently, Plant Food and Wine, which was also started in New York. You might have seen the crazy TV show a couple years ago about the crazy vegan lady, bad vegan. It was a Matthew Kinney restaurant. His other, he's closed a lot of his restaurants, which is so sad. But we have a plant-based sushi restaurant that was open for 6 months. It closed, and then it reopened again. So I'm on a mission to get back there so I can, make sure I support, because I used to eat a lot of sushi actually before I went vegan, and it was something that I'm happy to eat a roll with, some cucumber or some avocado when we go out. When we go out to dinner, I'm happy to have miso soup if it's vegan. They're not always vegan. Sometimes.
Right. I learned that from Julia. Yeah.
Yeah. So if it's vegan, And in fact, there's a sushi restaurant in Venice, right next door to Cafe Gratitude, called Wabi, and they have vegan soup there, which is great. Edamame and a roll, and I'm just a happy camper. Oh, there's another brand new vegan restaurant, not particularly healthy, although you can find a few healthy things, but called Planta. And they're not only in Los Angeles, there's a few around the country, and I think they're going to be growing, so because it's really good.
Cool.
Not to eat all the time because it's not the healthiest, but
Right.
it's delicious. So, and
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to go out to eat because I feel like my cooking is so much better than what I can get in a restaurant. I mean, I know it sounds like I'm bragging, and I bet for you too.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's nice though to have somebody cook for me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. No, I do go to a restaurant called Bangkok Bento on Newbury Street in Boston, and they make something specially for me because I asked them to, which is they make a peanut avocado. It's roasted without oil though, dry roasted peanuts and avocado. And rice. It's like a regular sushi. It's so good.
That's so great. That's so great. Well, before we end, because I think you and I could chit chat for a really, really long time. But I know that you've got another live interview to do today.
I do, in a half hour, and then I have another one at 8, which is my last one.
Oh my goodness, you are amazing. You're just a bundle of energy. I'm so impressed. The amount of interviews and people you've been meeting this week is just astounding. But one of the people whose food I've been cooking, she has 7 ebooks. Her name is Rachel Detroit, and she has 7 ebooks. And I made her 2 nights ago. I made her falafel, so there's plenty of it in there. Ooh. And so I put it on a bed of lettuce. I made her tahini lemon dressing. And as soon as we're done, I'm going to drizzle the tahini dressing on top of here. My husband had it with pita the other night. He liked it. So good. And a few of the people who are contributors to the Vegan Health Bundle are offering live cooking classes. If you have to get them, well, I don't know about some of the others. I signed up for James Sant's cooking classes, like an 8-week class. But also Rachel has one that's going to be next Saturday, the 16th. So, but you have to get the bundle if you want it free. You can still sign up for her class next week, but it's going to cost you. And so you may as well get it free through the bundle.
Yeah. I'm going to sign up for it too.
I signed up already. So I'll see you next Saturday at the cooking class.
Yeah. Her stuff's great. Stuff's great.
You want to quickly just share one more time about the bundle before we say goodbye?
Sure. Yeah. So the bundle is a collection of 150 ebooks that are of various topics ranging from recipes to which there are a total of over 2,000 recipes amongst the ebooks that are in there, and exercise. There's yoga, there's fascia flow, learning about your fascia, which is so important for you to learn about how to keep it flowing. There's a gut course by Dr. McDougall. There are every time I look at it, I find another one that I hadn't seen.
It's gems. It's just
more gems. And this is mine. It's called Rise and Shine: 20 Delicious Morning Oatmeal Recipes from Ellen's Healthy Kitchen. And there's a combination of sweet cooked oatmeal recipes, savory cooked oatmeal recipes, sweet baked recipes oatmeal, and also overnight oats. There's 4 cheesecake overnight oats that's quite delicious. And so that's that. And it's only available till you've got about
11:59.
Yeah, you have 7 hours. We're in the home stretch. You have 7 hours to order it. You can go to either Diane's link or my link. And my link is in the comments on Facebook. It's also in my bio on Instagram. Diane, where's your link?
Right now it's in my bio on Instagram. And as soon as we're done, I will get the link up in my Facebook group where this is streaming to, and also to YouTube. And then I'll be sure to share this so you can put it on YouTube.
Yeah. And people should know that once 11:59 hits in Pacific time, there's no going back. There's no the bundle will not be, as a collection, will not be available. You'll be able to buy my ebook for $19.97, and there's a course in there for $700, but it's part of this $49 bundle. So
my classes, the value is $177 for all 3 classes. So
so
come on,
just
$49, you'll get everything.
Right, exactly. It's it's a handful of times at Starbucks with your family.
Yeah.
So it's really sensible. So go get your bundle.
Go get your bundle. Ellen, it's been a delight. I'm so glad. I'm, looking forward to staying connected with you after the bundle's over. And I'll see you in Rachel's cooking class next Saturday.
Okay, you will. Absolutely.
All right. Bye, everybody. Have a good one.
Bye.
Get the bundle.
Go get the bundle. Bye.
Bye.